For 24 years, a father imprisoned his daughter beneath his own home. He raped her, controlled her, and forced her to bear 7 of his children, while his neighbors greeted him each morning, never knowing what lay under their feet. There were no screams, no trail of blood, no midnight alarms. Just a locked door in a quiet Pennsylvania basement, and the kind of evil that hides behind routine. He told everyone she had joined a religious sect. He showed letters from her, written in her own hand. To prove it, police believed him. His wife believed him. The entire town believed him. Above ground, life went on. Dinners, holidays, the saw from the television through the walls. Below it, in total darkness, a woman raised her children. Children who had never seen sunlight or touched open air. And for nearly a quarter of a century, no one knew. Not until one of those children collapsed, forcing the door to that hidden world to finally open. It began in 1983. In Willow Creek, a small town tucked between farmland and quiet woods, 17-year-old Lena Whitman vanished after an argument with her father, Harold. He was a local contractor known for his precision, the kind of man people called when they needed something fixed right. He filed the missing person report himself. A week later, he handed police a letter written in Lena's handwriting, saying she had left to find spiritual peace with a traveling group. Detectives found no reason to doubt him. He was cooperative, respectable, the kind of man you don't suspect. Weeks turned into years. The Whitman home on Maple Hollow Road became a place of quiet mourning. Margaret, Harold's wife, prayed daily for her daughter's safety, never realizing Lena was directly below her feet, because every night Harold descended into his basement workshop, his supposed place of tinkering and solitude, locking the door behind him. Years earlier, Harold had begun building a storm shelter beneath the house, telling neighbors he wanted peace of mind after a string of tornadoes. No one questioned it. The structure was concrete thick, insulated, and soundproofed. Hidden behind false walls and a heavy steel door, it became his secret. When he lured Lena downstairs at August night, he told her to help hold the door steady while he fit its hinges. As she bent to brace it, he slammed it shut. The click of the locks was quiet, almost delicate. From that moment, the world above lost her. The underground space was narrow and cold, lit by a single bulb connected to a timer. Harold stocked canned food and bottled water, claiming he would teach her obedience before letting her go. But the door never opened again. Months passed. He rationed food, delivered old clothes, a mattress, and later, a small television. When she cried, he punished her with darkness. When she begged, he told her no one was looking for her anymore. Over time, fear became habit, and habit became survival. By 1987, Lena gave birth to her first child, Anna, alone on the cement floor. 2 years later came Luke, then Noah. Harold's double life hardened. He told Margaret their missing daughter had left her babies on the doorstep, and Margaret, tired, lonely, desperate to believe, accepted it. She raised the 3 children upstairs, thinking they were her grandchildren from afar. In the basement, Lena raised 3 others in shadows. They learned to read from torn magazines and old textbooks. They spoke in whispers because loud noises meant punishment. Their only view of time was Harold's footsteps above, the rhythm of his life dictating theirs. By the mid-1990s, Willow Creek had changed. Shopping malls replaced fields, new families moved in, and Lena's name faded from conversation. To the older residents, she was just another runaway swallowed by the world. Harold aged into a quiet local fixture, still meticulous, still polite. He built additions for neighbors, led repairs for the local church, attended every town fair with his grandchildren. Children community believed were the offspring of his missing daughter. People called him generous for taking them in. Below ground, Lena taught her own children about seasons they had never seen. She drew pictures of trees, rivers, and snow. When Harold allowed the television to run, the children stared at daylight scenes as if they were dreams. Once, when a news broadcast mentioned a missing girl's mother pleading for answers, Lena turned away. The pain of recognition was unbearable. Her hope dimmed but never died. She etched tally marks into the wall, teaching the children numbers through her own captivity. She planned escape in silence, testing locks, memorizing his routines. Every plan ended with failure and punishment, but persistence became her quiet rebellion. In 2007, Anna, the eldest, now 19, fell gravely ill. Her skin turned gray, her breathing shallow. Harold dismissed it as stress. When she began seizing, Lena begged him to take her to a hospital. He refused until she promised to stay silent. He carried Anna upstairs in the dead of night, placed her in his truck, and drove to Willow Creek General Hospital, clutching another forged letter from Lena. The note claimed the girl's mother was away with a religious group and could not appear. Doctors treated Anna, but immediately grew suspicious. Her malnutrition, her undeveloped muscles, her fragile teeth told another story. Police were contacted. Harold repeated the cult story with calm authority. Yet inconsistencies piled up. The supposed mother had written dozens of letters over 2 decades, all in identical handwriting. Investigators asked to meet her, under mounting pressure. Harold returned home and unlocked the door he had kept sealed for nearly a quarter century. Lena stepped out for the first time since she was 17. Her skin was ghost white, her eyes unaccustomed to light. At the hospital, when officers gently asked who she was, she said only, "Please, don't send me back." That sentence ended the illusion. The police search that followed stunned the nation. Beneath the Whitman home, they discovered the hidden staircase and the steel door. The air inside was stale metallic. Children's drawings covered the walls. Crude suns, trees, names written in block letters. Beds lined the walls beside an old refrigerator and a rusted toilet. News spread rapidly. Father keeps daughter in prison for 24 years. Satellite trucks filled Maple Hollow Road. Neighbors stare at the house they had passed every day without ever seeing what was under it. But the horror deepened. Behind a second layer of brick, investigators found another small, sealed room, a forgotten chamber. Inside were the skeletal remains of a teenage girl. Dental records confirmed she'd been a babysitter who vanished from Willow Creek 10 years before Lena's abduction. The case was no longer one of captivity alone. It was serial predation, hidden beneath normal life. The community that once praised Harold for his charity now struggled to comprehend how evil had lived among them so politely. The trial gripped the country. Prosecutors presented evidence of imprisonment, rape, and murder. Harold sat motionless as photographs of the cellar were shown. The narrow beds, the chains, the drawings. His defense argued insanity. The jury saw a calculation. Lena testified from behind a privacy screen. Her voice was steady. She described years counted by footsteps overhead, the sound of church bells marking Sundays she never saw. She spoke of raising children in a place without seasons, of teaching them hope when she had none. When the verdict came, life without parole, Harold blinked but said nothing. Margaret, frail and shaking, told reporters she had lived beside a stranger. The Whitman house was demolished within months. The land where it stood remains empty, marked by a single maple tree planted in memory of the victims. Lena and her surviving children relocated under new names, beginning therapy far from Willow Creek. Occasionally, someone driving through town slows at the vacant lot, unsure why it feels heavier than the rest of the street. They don't know the full story. Only whispers that a secret once lived there. But those who remember know the truth. You can bury walls, pour concrete, and erase blueprints, but the past doesn't vanish. It waits, silent and patient, until someone finally opens a door. Evil doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through the walls of ordinary houses, hidden behind laughter, routine, and the comfort of familiarity. The story of the Whitmans was not just about one man's depravity. It was about the silence that let it thrive. Neighbors waved. Letters arrived. Systems failed. For 24 years, an entire town looked away from what was happening right beneath its foundations. But Willow Creek was never alone. Across the world, in cities and suburbs, in quiet homes and crowded shelters, stories like this still surface. Children held captive by those meant to protect them. Wives isolated by husbands who convince everyone they're fine. Victims of trafficking locked in basements disguised as storage rooms. People hidden not by concrete, but by indifference. In 2008, when the real-life case that inspired this story was uncovered in Austria, it shocked the world. Yet in the years since, thousands more have disappeared into the same kind of silence, not underground, but unseen, behind curtains, online, in plain sight. Every generation believes these horrors belong to history, but they continue to evolve with the times. Today, captivity can look like a locked room or a digital leash. Control can come through physical chains or psychological ones. And the walls? They don't need to be made of concrete anymore. Lena Whitman's escape was more than a rescue. It was a warning that what hides in plain sight is often what we refuse to imagine. That the true test of community isn't whether evil exists among us, but whether we notice when it does. The house on Maple Hollow Road is gone now. The land is quiet, the maple tree grown tall. But beneath every town, every neighborhood, there are stories still waiting to be unearthed. Secrets sealed by fear, manipulation, and denial. The lesson of Willow Creek is one the modern world can't afford to forget. Evil doesn't vanish when a door is sealed. It vanishes only when someone dares to open it.